This video is part 2 in the Internet Basics series brought to you by the Kaukauna Public Library. In Internet Basics Part 1, we learn what we can do with the Internet, what it is, how it works, and how we can get it ourselves. In Internet Basics Part 2, we discuss how you can search the Internet to find information and websites and the applications that make it possible. For this video, I will be using an Apple iPad tablet. The process is similar enough that it also applies to computers, phones, and other types of tablets. Some of the names of things may differ, but the underlying principles remain the same. You might have heard people talk about Google, YouTube, or Facebook, but you might not know how to actually use the internet to find those websites. Well, a web browser is basically your gateway to the internet and World Wide Web. It takes the computer code that websites are written with and makes them appear visually pleasing and easier to navigate. Common web browsers are Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, and Safari. If you're using an Apple device such as an iPad or iPhone, you will be using the Safari browser, though you can get almost any web browser on any device. All tablets, phones, and computers come with a web browser, though you can obtain a different one if you desire. The first step to using a web browser is to locate its icon and touch it. If you don't see your web browser when you first turn on your phone or tablet, simply put your finger in the middle of the screen and move it down. This motion is called swiping. After doing this, you should see a search bar at the top of the screen. You can search for Safari or touch its icon if you already see it in the suggested apps. On Android devices, there is usually a button on the bottom left or right part of your phone that will open a view of all the apps currently on your phone. You can look for Google Chrome in this list, since it comes installed on most recent Android devices. Once you've touched the web browser and open it, there are two main features to be aware of. The first is the address bar. This is usually located at the top center area of the screen. Inside the address bar is where the URL, or Uniform Resource Locator, is located. A URL is basically the equivalent of your house's address. To travel to a particular person's house, you need to know their physical address. The same applies with websites. You need to know their address, or URL, and enter it into the web browser's address bar before your device can find that website. Touch the middle of the address bar to bring up your device's keyboard to enter in the desired URL. Then type google.com as an example. After this is entered, you can press the button to execute the search. This button can be called Enter, Search, Confirm, or something different depending on your device. If you are connected to the internet, your device should be displaying Google's home page and should look like my screen. You have successfully navigated to a website. This is one of two common ways of finding websites. Next, we'll learn how to find a website if we don't know its URL. But first, let's dissect a URL to learn what its parts mean. A URL is comprised of four main parts. The first part is https://. It isn't necessary to type this in at the beginning of every URL since your browser is smart enough to do it for you. However, it is good to know that this establishes the protocol your browser uses to transfer data over the internet. Especially important is the S part of the HTTPS, which we'll cover in Internet Basics Part 3. The second part of the URL is the www part. This also isn't necessary to type in for most common websites, though it is good to know that this means the page you're requesting is located on the World Wide Web. There are other kinds of networks that exist out there, so this limits the options to only those on the World Wide Web. The third part of the URL is the name of the website itself. In the previous example, this was Google. Sometimes the name of the website will be followed or preceded by a period and more words. For example, the name could be store.google.com. This is perfectly normal and helps your web browser locate the correct web page on the website. The final part of the URL is called a domain. These can vary by the type of content that is published on the website. .com is for commercial websites such as various stores, Google, YouTube, and many more. .edu is for educational institution websites such as high schools and colleges. .org is for nonprofit organizations like your local public library. And .gov for state, local, and federal government websites. It is normal for these domains to be followed by other words or even apparently random characters. For example, a URL could read google.com/US backslash question mark UTM underscore source equals all that right there. You can read it on the screen or something similar to it. This is also normal, and it gives your web browser more information when displaying and interacting with the website. So don't worry if you see a long string of text like that. Totally normal. What happens if you don't know the website's URL? Some of them can be very long, like the last example. This is where search engines come in. Search engines will search millions of websites in a matter of seconds to find the website that most closely relates to what you type into it. Common search engines are Google, Bing, Yahoo, among many others. For example, if we want to use the internet to find the score of the last Packers game, we can use a search engine to find it. If we navigate back to Google's homepage, we can type in a search term. Let's type in Packers score and press our search or enter button to execute it. Immediately, Google is smart enough to display an easy to read table with the most recent Packers scores. For some popular searches, some search engines will immediately display your requested information without you having to click on the website to navigate directly to it. Let's say we want more information on how the Packers did. We could scroll down the web page until we see a list of the website URLs and titles. Website titles are blue if you've never been to them, and purple if you've been to them before. The first website results title says Green Bay Packers NFL Packers News Scores Stats, and its URL is www.espn.com. ESPN is the league that officially runs American football, so we know by viewing its URL that the information contained on this page has the most reputable information on it. We can click the blue website title to view the web page. You can see here much more information on this website than on the previous search result page. You can use search engines like Google to find a wide range of information. Try searching for a few topics you're interested in and seeing what you find. The second important part of web browsers is the back and forward buttons. On my iPad, these are located in the upper left part of the screen, though their location can differ depending on your device and web browser of choice. Sometimes on Android devices, the back button is located on the very bottom left or right of your device, sometimes separate from the screen. Either way, these buttons allow you to navigate to previously visited web pages in your browser. The back button, which faces left, will take you to the last page you were on. The forward button, facing right, will take you back to the page you used the back button from, in the event that you would like to return there. These can be used to easily navigate to web pages without taking the time to search for a web page again if you touch the wrong thing and end up somewhere you didn't mean to. It is a good rule of thumb to pause if you arrive at a website you didn't intend to and touch the back button. Many times this will take you back to a familiar place. If you have any questions about this video or anything related to technology in general, please don't hesitate to call the Kaukauna Public Library at 920-766-6340 extension 6 to set up a one-on-one appointment. At the time of uploading this video, our in-person one-on-one sessions are unavailable. However, you can still receive help either over the phone or via a Zoom call. Thank you for watching.